everyone. Thank you so much for coming to listen to me, giving some support. I always tell that for me is a learning process when I search the material to present, because I was not born, raised in a Catholic family. So what I heard about certain things, certain phrases, it looks to me very strange. And one of the things is faith, the way the Catholicism has, spread. Because in Buddhism, we don't talk about faith. That faith, especially the one that is not based in reason, that is imposed by the church and you keep automatically repeating, based on some entities or based on some intangible entities, that if we are not in a good deal with this entity, we may not be granted by this faith. It never said that I have to participate, the faith is inside of me. Never said this. While in the Buddhism, no, everything asks for your participation. Is you, is based on you. You are responsible for that. So when we hear in many instances of the gospel, we hear this phrase, your faith has made you well, or your faith has healed you, or your faith has saved you. Oh, this is very powerful. But I just wondered in those incidents if Jesus meant the faith the way the church spread to us during this almost 2,000 years with the Roman ruling of the church, all the interest there to hold, to control. I'm pretty sure Jesus didn't mean that faith. So let's see the stories to see if we can come out with, oops. So this incident is of a bleeding woman. This woman was bleeding for more than 12 years. So just imagine first being a woman in that time, which was a rather difficult situation. Second, in the period, the monthly period, that woman is considered dirty. What a funny, strange, contagious sickness. So she could not be in public. She could not even be close, be touched or touching a man. In a time where we didn't know that how to deal with the bleeding, the anemia, the weakness, there was no notion that we have to have iron or some food to replace. So she was really ostracized by the public. She could not go public. That's why you see the picture there, she crawling on the ground and tried to reach Jesus, just the edge of his vestment, fringe. Just because she could not stand up with the public. At that time of this incident, Jesus was already very famous, so a huge crowd would follow him. So if they knew she was among them, she would be kicked out, stoned, whatever it is, because it was prohibited. So she crawls there with such a faith, with such a certainty, that if she touched something of his vestment, she would be cured. She was so certain about it. That's why she made all the sacrifice, feeling weak, emaciated by this long anemia or loss of blood. So Jesus said, who touched me? Well, there's 200 people around him. Who touched you? Peter, that is very outspoken, said, Master, what kind of question is this? Who touched you? Everybody's touching you. No, but someone touched me in a different way, special way, because from me some virtue, some good energy went out. Someone got this energy from me. And he insisted so much that she was so afraid, but she had to come out. She said that was me. And then he was so kind to her, said, your faith has healed you. And she felt that the moment she touched him, that her bleeding stopped. Her blood bleeding. So she was feeling better. So he said, no, I'm not condemning you. Your faith really healed you. So you see, that means she had that big, great will, certainty to go and touch him. With all this problem that she might encounter, she went there. So that is a great will. So putting this in mind, this will. And the other case is this centurion, this big officer from the Roman military group. And he was a man of command. And he came to Jesus, said that his servant was very, very sick, dying, that he needed him to heal him. So Jesus said, okay, I'll go with you. He said, no. He said, no, because I am a man of command. So I don't need to go there to things to be done. I can just send a lower rank, person in my group, and they're going to perform. So you just have your will sent you. I'm pretty sure my servant will be healed. So Jesus said that I'll tell you, not even in Israel have I found such a faith. So he had the faith that at distance, Jesus could heal the person. There's so many other cases. So I brought another more modern case of faith linked to miracles. And this is a very famous case. He was an agnostic scientist, and he was converted after this incident. He wrote a book called the Voyage to Lourdes. Lourdes is a small town south of France. So he was Mr. Alex Carrel. He was a biologist, medical doctor. And he was very famous of doing very materialistic procedure. He was healing, cutting, fixing the body. So for him, medicine is only body, fixing the body. So he was very famous about the organ transplant. He, developed this technique of cleaning wounds, not to be less infectious, contagious, etc. So he won the Nobel Prize for that. Imagine how powerful this man was. But he had, So he had this, that is written in this book, a patient, very young person. All family have tuberculosis, very serious tuberculosis. Meningitis, tuberculosis, then got to the intestine. So she was very, very, very sick, almost dying, going to coma, coming out from coma. But she wanted really someone to take her, put her in that train, and take her to Lourdes, to this church, to this place where miracles was known to be occur. And it was prohibited that time to people that sick, dying, to be in a public train. But she said, I want to go. So they put her, and her doctor went with her. It was interesting. And he already made some prediction that he would be a monk if she won't die during the trip, because so serious was her sickness. So he went also determined to write down all the situation, put a medical report about her case, the temperature, the pulse, if she was alert, she wasn't alert. Each hour he would put a note because he wanted to document that he was right. She would die, you know. So her name Marie Bailey. So she was also examined by several other doctors. That's why he said here that I will be a monk if she get alive in that place. So what happened that the situation was to have a bath, but because she was in such a bad situation, she said, it's okay, you can sprinkle some of this blessed water on me. That was her faith. Anything that could reach her from that blessed water, she would be cured. So they did that, and she was in such a pain, but you see, when the water was poured on her abdomen, this is the doctor saying, by the third time, it gave her a very pleasant sensation. So in the beginning, she saw the pain was huge, become worse in the first sprinkle, but then the second was better and the third was much better. So the physician, with notepad in his hand, was taking care of, and suddenly he saw that within 30 minutes, the abdomen became flattened, because you remember that other movie that the abdomen was expanded by this, in this case was the tuberculosis that was spread. And then has completely disappeared. No discharge whatsoever was observed from the body, because she had tuberculosis, so she had a lot of discharge from the lungs, and now with the intestine. So she was cured in a couple of, hours. Then she was first carried to the basilica, and the medical bureau examined her in details, by other doctors. Next morning, she got up on her own and was already dressed when Carell saw her again. Oh, he had to be converted. Even the most skeptical man will have to, right? So I ask, what is faith? What is faith with reading and listening to all these stories? And what is miracle? We know with the advancement of science, many things that we consider was a miracle, we can explain now what it is. It's not any longer a miracle. So things that in 21st century we still think is a miracle because there is no explanation, but it's our problem to not have provided any explanation. But there is an explanation. We just don't know. We are ignorant still. But in a couple of, 50 years, 100 years, it's going to be all normal. Einstein says, I believe in miracle. Miracle is a fact whose mechanism we ignore at this moment. Isn't he smart? There's some smart guy. He is smart. And he's very, believes in really in religion. So then comes a help from the book, the Gospel According to Spiritism. So Kardec is very good. And Sarah read the beginning of this chapter, The Faith Moves the Mountain. And there is how to say? New or report from a message from a spirit protector. And he says, please forget everything that you think about faith that is based on religion, on some mythical way. Forget it. It's not that way. Please put this out, otherwise we're not going to understand what faith is, because that has been deviated from the main purpose, from the main meaning. So he says, up to now, we have only this religious, we know only in this religious sense. But Christ did not do that. Christ already performed material miracles, showing that these miracles, that these same miracles man can do when he has faith. So when he has will, when he has certainty that he's gonna get it, just remember what you see in the Winter Olympics. Is the example of faith. If they didn't have faith that they would, the next Olympics, not do only the triple, but do the quadruple. A 13 years old, 12 years old boy said, next Olympics, I will try the quadruple. And they did. He did. And so the girl that did the triple. And next Olympics, I'm sure the 13, 12 years old is already thinking, I'm going to work to do the quintuple, the 5. But that requires will and work, right? So he says, this is Protector Spirit says, will is equal to, faith is equal to will to desire and the certainty that this wish will be achieved. You have to believe, you have to trust in what you want. It needs your participation. That's powerful. A good man draws on his faith the necessary force to accomplish miracles of charity, devotion, abnegation. So with this will, it emanates a force. We don't know very sure yet what kind of nature is this force. Electromagnetic, probably not, but is equal to a force that is underlying prayer, the power of prayer, the power of mind. Is the same. That scientists say is not of electromagnetic nature because it doesn't fade away by distance, through distance. It's the same, the other side of the planet. So it's a different type of energy, but we don't know what type. So likewise, there are no evil tendencies which cannot be combated by faith. Okay, that's good too, right? It's through faith that magnetism passes, cures, and produces those singular phenomena in other times called miracles. If men, this is a thing for us, if men wish to place their will at the service of this force, faith, force equal faith, they would be capable of producing these so-called miracles that are nothing more than the development of a human faculty. It's a human faculty, just that we're not being practicing, we're not being trusting. We trust in some other forces that we don't even know what is this, but we don't trust in ourselves. So, the other interesting thing that Jesus asked in those incidents of healing that called my attention. So he asked, he said, your faith has healed you. But he also asked before he healed, he asked, what do you want me to do? Doesn't he know? He comes, and another question is, do you believe I can cure you? He knows, but why he has to ask this? Right? So, for instance, in this incident, there was a blind man, and he was blind for a long time, and he heard, he could not see, he heard that Jesus was coming around. So he started to scream, Son of David, have mercy. So he was so loud there that people say, shut up, shut up. But he kept saying, and Jesus heard and say, tell him to come here to me. And then the blind man came, and Jesus said, cheer up. No, the people said to him, cheer up, he's calling you. Go there, let's go there. He threw his coat and jumped and came to Jesus. This is symbolic, throwing his coat. He doesn't need anymore. He was so certain that Jesus would heal him. He said, I don't need this anymore. I'm not a beggar anymore. I can be independent because I'm going to see. So he jumped, but he asked, Jesus asked, what do you want me to do for you? Well, he was blind. I don't know if since he was born, but for a long time. Doesn't Jesus know that he wants to see, But he said, I want to see, Rabboni, I want to see again. So he said, go, your faith has healed you. And immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. He was one of the followers later. He followed Jesus everywhere since that incident. So I was thinking, why he needs to have my answer to this? Why because he knows that I want to be cured, but do I know that I want really to cure? Isn't there some hidden, unconscious, subconscious victimization that I don't want to be cured? And there is a case that a guy was driving a road, and he had to stop in a gas station. So he filled up the gas, but he heard a dog that was laying in a small piece of rug or whatever. And then the whole time kind of crying. And then so he went inside, he paid, he went to the bathroom, so it took at least 10 to 15 minutes. And this dog was still crying. So he asked the person, the cashier, said, what is wrong with this dog? And he said, oh, nothing. It's because he's laying on a nail. So why he's there? Why he's not out of this? Because the pain is not big enough for him to stand up and go. So he rather stay there. So how many of us, we rather stay with some small illness and discomfort just because we don't want to change? What is this kind of twist is there? Why? It's complicated. It's very complicated. So from this part of questioning by Jesus, we see that it is an important force which is called the power of intention and the power of mind, the mind's power. This is a huge, huge force that we're not using. We're not using. So this gentleman, fortunately, he discarnated recently, but his books were so helpful. And he put forward this power of intention. You change your destiny if you already view your goal fulfilling. If I want a job, I cannot put in my mind, oh, this interview is going to be difficult. Oh, I'm going to be nervous. He's going to make some questions and I will make a mistake. No! You already envision. You are sitting in that desk that you intend to have the job for, working. You already see you all successful, you're already there. If you have a disease, you cannot be, lingering with this pessimistic, say, oh, if I'm going to be cured or not. No, I have the envision that I am already, the surgery went well, I'm okay, I'm already healing. So this is the power of intention. The same thing with the money. You already have to envision, you got the money that you needed to do something, some business or whatever. And I think this is undeniable, the placebo effect. The placebo effect is the scientific proof that this faith, this certainty can cure my disease. Because more than 30% of the healing, they only got sugar or some other type of inert powder. But they believed that they were taking the best medicine, the last development of the drug development for him to be cured. So the placebo effect shows that the mind has such an influence in our well-being or bad way to feel, bad feelings, bad pain, and whatsoever, whatever. So the placebo effect is scientific proof that we have the ability to heal ourselves. It's an attitude. We have to have attitude. Dr. Bernie Siegel, he is very dear to us because he gave a seminar 5 years ago, I think, 6 years ago, with Divaldo Franco in Connecticut, probably in a university, 90 years ago. And his story, he was very materialistic, surgeon. Surgeons usually, they are very focused in the body. He used to open, if he could do something to that organ, he would do. Otherwise, he would just close and say, and he is an oncologist, for pediatric oncologist, but he would also treat adults. So in this book, Love, Medicine, and Miracles, and also when Divaldo was there, he was invited to his house, to Siegel's house, before the seminar. Divaldo says, well, he wanted to know what kind of a partner he would have in this seminar because they would have a joint talk. Dr. Siegel would talk about the traditional medicine, which is taught in the university, and Divaldo was going to be there to talk about spiritual treatment. So he says about these two many cases, but I chose these 2 cases of cancer patients, one showing spontaneous remission, what we call today in more technical words, spontaneous remission, and the other one had a recurrence. So let's see the mind of these people. Unfortunately, it's 2 women. I know it may occur to other people. So let me say first about this story. The first case, it came a lady. He had been in all other doctors, so she had all the exams, and she had a very serious case of cancer with metastasis. It was really bad. So she said, I came to you because I trust you can treat me and I will be healed. But why didn't the other doctors did the same thing? But anyway, she was there. And he saw the other exams, and he said, oh no, your case is very serious. There is no way for me to save you. You have only a couple of months. They're very straight. So she said, what is my chance? 1 in 100? Oh, no, 1 in 100, no way. 1 in 1,000? No. 1 in 1,000,000? Oh, maybe 1 in 1,000,000. So you're gonna treat me because I will be the one. Can you believe this? In 6 months, she was cured. She was cured. But the other case, this lady had a cancer, a diagnosis of cancer. And then she came back a couple of years later, back to him. She was cured and came back. She said, oh, you back? Oh, yeah, your cancer is back. Your cancer is back. So that's her story. So how was your treatment of the cancer? How did you feel before when you were being treated? Oh, you see, it seems not believable, but it was the best time of my life. Because when I told my family, she had already a long marriage, 30, 50 years, I don't know. No, she had grown-up kids, they had their kids. And she said, you know, my husband that used to have extra work at the office would come back so late home, or he started to come early home. He started to bring me flowers. He started to invite me to go to a dinner. He started, you know, and my kids, oh, they came to visit me, to stay with me, couple. And how about the people in the work? Oh, they came to visit me, good words to me, you know, and people from the church, oh, wow, they came to give me support. It was so nice. It was really nice. I felt really loved. And after that, when you said, well, after I was cured, I told my family. Of course, my family was happy, but my husband didn't come home. He went to this old timey happy hour, extra work, whatever. My kids didn't come to visit me anymore. The co-workers didn't even pay attention to me. Oh, in the church, oh, they didn't even. So you decide to have the cancer again. That's it. Of course, that shocks the person. Of course, she doesn't want to have the cancer. She doesn't have even consciousness about this. But we have this within. And this was taught to us since we were kids. Remember when we had a little fever You know, the mother make the best food. You don't need to go to the school. The father brings some special toy, something that he promised to give the next Christmas, but now he brings. So we learn how to use this victimization in order to get something, some favors. We learn this, and we keep using this when we are adult. So, so these are the two. There's other cases, but what is interesting, he said, he became now spiritualized. It's a beautiful story. There's no time to tell here, but Divaldo tells about this story. He says, I adopt the technique of questioning about 4 faiths to help his terminal patients. The same question, more or less, as Jesus said, do you believe I can cure you? You have to have this certainty. So first is the faith in God, if they have faith in God. Because those that have faith in God, he noticed they can endure the difficult part of the chemotherapy, surgery, you know, the pain is more bearable. It makes a big difference among them. Faith in the doctor. Do you trust me that I can cure you? Yes, that lady said, you can. I went to 50 others, but you, I know you're going to cure me. So you have to have the faith in your doctor. If you don't have, change the doctor, right? Faith in the therapy. And the therapy, he says that he asks, what kind of therapy you want to have? Psychotherapy, radiation and chemotherapy and surgery. Those that say, I want those radical treatment, he knows they're gonna die because they are in fear and they want someone to help to get rid of that cancer. But those that say, I want a psychotherapy also, that means she has a chance or he has a chance because he wants to change the mind and be part of the therapy, part of the treatment. So he can predict. And Divaldo says, and I add to him one more faith, which is belief in medical spirit, which is the Bezerra de Menezes, you know. So he says, we spiritists, we have one more faith. So he says that he applied this ego therapeutic procedure if the patient is sure that what he wishes will happen. He will already begin to work for this to happen. He will be part of the therapy. And Dr. Siegel says, everything begins in the mind to then turn into verbalization. I start to talk about, yes, I want to do this, I wish to do that, I have a lot to do there. In next spring, I have to be ready to do such and such things. And then put in action. So the mind is where we have to change, to make the change. So, but us, the majority of us, how do we want to be cured? This story is very interesting. A guy came to a doctor because he had a fungus infection in the groin, in the lower part. So that he said, I want you, they already knows what they want the doctor to do. I want some antibiotics. And the doctor said, well, but I have to know what you do in life. What's your job? Oh, no, it doesn't matter. I don't want, no. I just want you to give the prescription, the medication. He said, but I have to know. So finally, he said, well, I steal horses. I watch those horses that are loose somewhere. When I see one, I go there and I jump on the back of this horse and run. So this horse has no back, how to say, without back?
No saddle.
No saddle, yeah. So imagine that friction, hot, and he riding, with this cell. So that's how he got the fungus infection. So the doctor said, you have to stop your job. Oh no, yes, you have to stop this job. You have to stop stealing the horses. Otherwise, there is no antibiotic to treat you. So that's how we are. We don't want to stop what we're doing because that is the source of money or that's what you think you have to do. Why not? And also the same you can apply in this gastritis, you said, other type of chronic illness. But gastritis, especially this emotional nervous, we say in Brazil nervous, but it's emotional gastritis. You have this pain every time you eat, and then you go to the doctor. But what we want from the doctor? What do we want to hear from the doctor? We want this. We want pills and keep eating the same thing. If they say, no, but you have to eat soup, you have mild, no spice, nothing fat, no, I want you to give me the pills. And I keep doing the same thing, smoking, plus if you smoke, it's worse than before. So that's how we are. So then is what Jesus said. Go and don't sin again. Sin here is it. Don't miss the target again. You're cured, but don't keep doing bad thing again, the same bad behavior. Don't keep missing the target. That is the meaning of sin. So in this case, in this pool, you had this pool that once in a while the water would shake, and was said that the first that jumped there will be cured. So there was this paralytic person, more than 38 years. Imagine if he could come close to this pool. No. So he was there, and then he heard that Jesus was there. So Jesus said, do you want to get well? And then he said, well, I have no one to help me. The pool is far. By the time I arrived there, other people already jumped. Poor me, pity of me, etc., etc. And so Jesus noticed that he actually was enjoying somehow to be a victim and putting the blame to the circumstance and to the others. Or the other people don't take me close to the edge, So saying Jesus was very tough and said, get up, pick up your mat and walk. Because he was carried. So he was enjoying to be carried. So he said, no, you have to carry your mat and walk. You have to do that. You have to have this willingness. Otherwise, you're not going to be cured. So he found this man. Then when he went to the synagogue to say that he was walking, he started to say, because this was performing during the Sabbath, and so he started to blame that I think it was Jesus that did this to me. There was a man. So kind of saying, well, it's his fault if he perform a miracle to me, something like that. So he was not a good person. And so when Jesus met him later, said to him, stop sinning or something worse will happen to you. Because he was bad mouth talking, all these things, blaming all other people. So, but we ask, but nevertheless, Jesus healed this person. What was the meaning of that? Didn't he have to filter? Yes, you're a good person. Yes, that's not good person. No. But he had to use the opportunity, not for that person that was paralytic or problem, but to educate others that were around. Don't be like this. If you keep doing this, you're going to be sick again. So it was more a lesson to those that were following him. So change. Why is it so difficult to change, guys? We know why it's so difficult. It's not that we don't know. All these cases, we know what it was supposed to do. Socrates says, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. He was more practical. Forget, if it's so difficult to change, just focus the new thing that you want to be. Forget your old being and be the new person. And in the Spirit's book, that question, I felt kind of, oh my God, is that so easy? Because Kardec asks, could men, through their effort, always overcome their evil inclination, tendencies, habits? Even this sense is bad tendencies. And the Spirit say, yes, he can overcome very often, making very insignificant effort. So the effort is very small. Provide, but there is a but. Provide that you have the will. He says, what is lacking is their will. We don't have will. If we have the will, we will get it. Even those miracles that we think is not understandable. And how few from among you make efforts? Paul also, I like Paul. We've been reading the book, Paul and Stephen, and we say, oh my God, he already evolved so much. He's subjected to so many troubles and get out from there very strong. But he still says, why I do not do the good I want to do. So he knows that he wants to do the good. But why don't I do it? But the evil that I don't want to do anymore, I keep doing. He questioned himself. Imagine Paul. If for Paul was like this, imagine me, us. So it's interesting that it's not an easy business. It's not easy to change old habits. In this book, Renunciation, somewhere here, this Alcyone is in the spiritual, in this book, she's incarnate, but she was already from a very evolved level, but she wanted to come back to rescue a loved one man that she loved that was lagging behind. So she wanted to come back to help him. And this high spirit said, look, you may fail, because there the forces are different compared to the place you're coming. No, I want to go. So she was in this incident here, she was teaching the gospel at home, the gospel. And the person there in that household said, well, I love the way you sing because I now understand better the gospel. So she says that many scholars assume to have reached the master's teaching through a simple reading with a vague reasoning. That's not enough just to read it. Oh, I understand. But first it's so superficial the way you understood. This, however, is a serious mistake. The message of Christ must be known. So first step is to know. Meditate, felt in the heart, and then lived. That's 4 steps. That's not easy business. So we think, well, if I know, it's easy for me to take action, to change my habits. If I know that that food is not good, oh, it's so easy. I just remove that food. No, why don't we do that? We keep doing, perhaps the first day that the doctor said, well, if you don't do, you're going to bleed. Then you say, oh, okay, I'll go with some nice food, etc., etc. Stop smoking. But we then, in 1 month, when we are okay, we stop the pills, we go to the bed, that other food, normal food, comfortable food, etc., etc. So, because as Alcione said, we have to reflect. Once I know, I have to reflect. And that is a very painful phase. Because to reflect means I have to be honest to myself and say what I am, what I'm been doing. So dig out your old psychological being, right? Old woman, old man, that is rooted, sometimes many incarnations. And sometimes it's difficult to confront ourselves. It's easy to confront others, but to confront ourselves is very difficult. It's painful. It's painful. Because comes guilt sometimes. Some frustration. Oh, I'm eating because, I'm frustrated. And then to feel in the heart, yes, I want to change. I deserve better future. I want to make an effort. I felt now that I will do it. Also, all the resolution that we made, oh yes, I know this is going to, and I will succeed. I put this as a goal. And then put in action. So register to the gym, don't buy those foods, don't even buy it. Don't have at home, those soda, whatever. So you have to take action. You have to take action. If you don't take action, the first moment of frustration, you're going to grab it. It's easy. I deserve it because I'm frustrated. So I go to the comfort. Of course. So don't have it. But you have to have a replacement. Something that will give comfort to us, right? If it's to replace the foods, it has to something else, or better food or something else. Some strategy. We have to come out with some strategy. That means awaken our consciousness. It's a consciousness and the spiritual awakening. When we finally realize we have this in our heart, and then we're in the phase to take action, that means I moved 1 step up. I'm conscious about my being, what I want. And my spiritual awakening also is there. So, I tried to see what the World Health Organization would say about health. It's an old definition in 1948. So it says, state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So who is healthy here? Who is healthy here? With that definition, we all have some issues. We all have some issues, right? If we don't have a clear physical problem, some pain, some difficulties to move, but mental, am I in a good state of mood? Happy? Not feeling any envy, any upsetness while I was coming in the traffic, something. And social, do I do well with other people? Am I happy being with other people? Have a relationship with other people in the workplace, in the street, in the traffic? Do I feel this? Or I feel aggravated? This is a source for disease. Because if this is to have this complete wellness in this physical, mental, social component, if I don't have that equilibrium, that means is the source for disease. So if I'm not in well balance in these 3 sessions, I am not healthy. I have a disease. Currently, they are adding, but it's not yet in the definition, the spiritual well-being is getting to there. People that are more spiritualized live longer, heal faster after surgery or during treatment, and they can maintain that, that situation much better. You can balance and control your blood pressure, control your cholesterol, control your diabetes, control your weight, control your gastritis more easily. But it goes beyond. Health is a dynamic condition resulting from a body's constant adjustment and adaptation in response to stresses and change in the environment for maintaining an inner equilibrium called homeostasis. Oh, that is difficult. That's true because, wow, I'm not in an isolated island. I've been always poked. I have to adjust. I ate a bad food or I ate something that was not supposed to. But my body knows most of the situation to put me balance back. If one kidney is not working, the other one will work harder. If one lung is a little bit blocked, the other one will work harder. They have all this adjustment, automatic. But we, as a mind, as a spiritual being, we don't know how to adapt this. Our automatic system will adapt, to maintain the blood pressure in the correct level. But we don't know. We let the thing come to our lives, and it's difficult to adjust to this constant impulse that we receive from outside. So, if we define disease, as I told you, is the imbalance when I'm not completely well in the physical, mental, social parts, spiritual, and I am lacking of adaptation. We don't adapt and not adapting. We are stubborn. We are, let's see, for many reasons, other reason, arrogance, or, feeling guilty, be stubborn. We don't want to adjust. We want to blame the situation. So there is some scientific basis to say that healing is beyond the body. We're getting there. The main science is very against this thing of mind being in the equation. They want, the physicians, the surgeons, they want to treat the body as that machine. The mind is, but we're getting there. Many good scientists is in there. For instance, Candace Pert, she also died. She was biologist, neuroscientist actually. She was very famous. She discovered the opiate receptors and the endorphins. And she said, we have in our body the molecules of emotions. Our emotion create, boost or put it down certain molecules. She called the molecules of emotion. Why do we feel the way we feel? How do our thoughts and emotions affect our health? Is all the questions in this book. Of course, Bruce Lipton, he was a biologist. He was a biologist, cytologist actually. He used to work details of the cells. But then he discovered that the genetics, the genes, are not the one that rule your life. They are there waiting for a command. And the command is in this field of epigenetics. And epigenetics encompasses a lot of lifestyle, what I want, what is my will, what I'm feeling, what I want in terms of others to do to me, what I want to do for others, compassion. Everything boosts, changes, is the impulse, bad or good, that will now say to gene, express, activate, or not activate. Many people were born, they have this exam, they examine the gene and say, well, you have high probability because you carry an oncogene for cancer, such a cancer. And many people decide to do a breast removal in order because I'm at high risk. But many of those that carry the oncogene, they never developed the cancer because it needs the impulse from other source for the environment, for your emotions, for your mind, for your spirit. The quality of your spirit will determine if those oncogenes will be activated or not. So this is epigenetics. And this Japanese called Kazuo Murakami, he was a geneticist, of course, he's working about the genes, the DNA. He says he studied how mental and emotional factors, negatives like stress, and positives like excitement, joy, gratitude, and spirituality are also involved in switching the genes on and off. It's all, the power is on us. We're not born with this horrible fate that we're gonna have that disease, no. So there is this long word called psychoneural and endocrine immunology. That's all the forces that are involved that are behind the disease and health. My psychological state, emotions, my neurological state, my hormone state, and the immunological state. Nowadays, we know that most of the chronic disease has this imbalance in the endocrine and immunology. That's how the cancer now is being treated, not by chemotherapy like antibiotic, but by boost our immunology, immune system, for us to fight, for my body to fight, not waiting for the drug to come from outside and kill that cancer cell, right? And the endocrine, we all know, when we are upset, stressed, adrenaline goes up, cortisol goes up, we start to feel pain in the stomach, pain in the joint, all these headaches, it's so clear. So why the well-being, the state of bliss won't give up? If the bad won't give me disease or some pain, why not the opposite? I may reach the state of happiness, harmony, if I practice to have those good feelings, to boost those positive factors that Dr. Murakami says. Spiritual healing. Then comes to the spiritual healing. The water, Dr. Masaru Emoto, he showed that the water crystallized. This is an electron microscopy image. Before the prayer, he got different types of water. And after the prayer, with beautiful crystals, just by the prayer. So prayer has some force, powerful force that the physicist doesn't know yet how to define. What is carrying this prayer to far to the other side of the planet without fading? It's not electromagnetic, because I work with electromagnetic in a Faraday cage, and I can block all this electromagnetic noise by working inside the Faraday cage. But the prayer, the thoughts, good healing words, is not blocked by this Faraday cage. So it's not electromagnetic, it's something else. And remember that here we are 70% water in our body. The cells also is 70% inside the cell is water. So imagine if I have a bad quality of water versus a good quality. All the reactions inside the cell will be either okay or bad. Because this water is there, the condition of the water. I like this doctor, he's a medical doctor, and he's bravely is getting out of the mainstream, trying to push the system to accept. So he wrote this book called Reinventing Medicine. He's a medical doctor. He teaches, of course, he has a lot in one of his long interview. He says how much resistance he got, threatening him. So he says, it's a very good description. He says, Era 1, which began in 1860, is plain old mechanical medicine. It looks at the body and the mind as purely physical. So the mind is equal brain. That's how they thought. They treat like this. Now came the Era 2, or so-called today, mind-body medicine. We are in this stage. After a lot of struggle, finally the medical school has in this curriculum a course about mind-body treatment or medicine, finally. And so originally it suggests that negative thoughts, feelings, and attitudes can do bad things to the body. Thus the term psychosomatic disease. So became very popular, psychosomatic disease. So your psychological state can change, can affect your body, which is the somatic part. But now comes the Era 3, which is not implanted yet. People are not, it's very resistant, which is the transpersonal medicine or non-local. Thank God is coming, the quantum physics, to give some support to this non-locality. But it's called non-local medicine. It's the ability of the mind to function at a distance. So now comes, he writes a lot, he researched a lot, some group studies, if really the prayer has some power. And he says there's a good evidence in a good, well-developed study, that statistical analysis, etc., that there is a power, a great power, the prayer and open up the consciousness. Deepak Chopra also is a medical doctor. He talks that self-love is the most important love we can invite into our lives. If we care for and love ourselves, then we are able to share love with others. So this state, ultimately the state of love, will be the guideline, or will be the underlying path for our cure, our healing. How about according to the Spiritism? Illness. According to the Spiritism, we are spirit, perispirit, which is the envelope, very subtle envelope of the spirit. And after that, the body is organ, everything serves as mold, you say, template to make the body. So whatever I have finally in the body, some disease or some pain, it affected first the perispirit. So it's the body is the consequence of what happened to the perispirit. But the perispirit, it doesn't create anything. It has to be boosted by the spirit. So the quality of the spirit is important. And these two books, a book, The Soul of Matter, Marlene Nobre, she describes everything about that. She's a medical doctor that died also. She founded the Brazilian Medical Association, Spiritual Medical Association, and she talks a lot the basis for the disease according to this paradigm. And of course, thought and life that Leo is going to go through with us. Chapter 15 is about health. Chapter 28 about disease. So in the first era, or the first thing we want to do is treat the body. Medication, surgery, radiation, diet, exercise, all affect the body. Easy, right? Especially if I stay there and wait for the doctor to prescribe something. The perispirit, we come here, magnetic type of magnetization, Reiki, magnetized water. So it's the bioenergy. We want to change our bioenergy. Kind words or image also is powerful. Prayer. I put there, I like this word, prayerfulness. Pray once a day. Now, stay in the state of prayerfulness the whole time. You have to, you're gonna see how different it's gonna be. And the spirit, the quality of the spirit, which is the cause of the change spirit in the body. So we have to work in the acceptance, adaptation, resilience, forgiveness, gratitude, compassion, caring, happiness, faith, hope, love, and will. If you don't have will to change all these things, forget it. So the opposite of each of those causes the disease. So the opposite of acceptance is to be rebellious, not accepting. Adaptation, rigidity, inflexibility, I don't want to change. Forgiving, we know, and all this. We have to work in the quality of spirit. It helps to do, of course, the body treatment, the perispirit treatment, but if ultimately we don't combine the change in the spirit quality, me as a spirit, this is going to come back. We're going to be forever trying to fix. And same Larry Dawson is right, this prayer is a good medicine. So we are spirits, according to Kardec. no doubt, that was the main good thing that Kardec brought, that we are spirits. Transiently, we are experiencing this body, but we are spirits. So the question is, do you really seek your spiritual care? Who asked cure? Who asked this question? In this book, Nosso Lar, remember we saw in the movie, but this part I think wasn't in the movie. André Luiz was just rescued. Then this lovely Clarencio was there, Clarence, after a couple of days, and Lysias. And there was another doctor, Henrique de la Luna, that was his doctor. He came and asked this question. Just ask, how do you feel? No, do you feel a little better? Don't you have some coworker or somebody that you wish you never had this question made? Because the person starts to make a list of problems that they have. So André, to be self-pity, he started to say how terrible his life, his fate was horrible, why he was suffering like that, why also in the earth, why he was incarnate, why he had such a difficult life. So he complained. And Clarence, instead stop him complaining, he let him talk. He was very attentive. And so André said more and more, think, oh my God, I'm good in that. He started even to cry him. But then Clarence said, my dear friend, very nicely, do you really seek your spiritual cure? After he said so much, he let him say. Then he said, yes, of course I want. He said, then learn not to speak too much about yourself and your sufferings. Self-pity is a symptom of mental illness, which is time-consuming and difficult to cure. It is imperative that you create new trains of thoughts and control your words. Control your words and thoughts. So this is in chapter 9 of this, 6 of this book. So Gandhi, of course, said the same way, keep your thoughts positive because they will become your words. Positive words will become behavior. Good behavior, positive behavior will become sometimes a habit. Good habits, positive habits, now is your value. You change your values. And your new values will determine your destiny. If it's going to be, you're going to be sick the whole time, or you're going to change. You're going to be cured. Although your situation is so serious, they say you're going to have only 6 months of life. You can change it. The father has his own personal account that they changed. He changed. The metastasis of his cousin, what's his name? Also had Nilsson. He had metastasis, bone metastasis already. It was all cured. But they ask, what you want from life? Do you want what? I'm sure. He said, Nilsson, you're so kind, so many kids. They need you. I know they need you, that you're very helpful. So that's to help. I am needed. I can make a difference. It's I have a lot to do. I have plans. We have to have plans, good plans, goals, set up goals, good goals. So that's it. So just to see if we change. Thank you.
I would rather actually have the audience to ask questions. So thank you. As we have said, it's the idea of faith. That's okay. it's always difficult for all of us not only to understand, but also to accept with our hearts and to put in practice, as we saw here tonight. A lot of information for us to digest. If you have any questions, any comments, please raise your hand. I'll take the microphone so we can ask a few questions before we finish tonight. Well, I do have a comment that it goes hand to hand with this. Well, and a question, by the way. The comment is really interesting because I received this video earlier today from a friend, and it was talking about the pessimistic person and the positive person. And this guy was, I'm very optimistic. I don't want to be pessimistic. And the person who is pessimistic, mainly he was saying that it's out of laziness, because it takes courage, it takes work for you to be optimistic, right? And he rather, explaining the whole thing, he rather to be optimistic than be a pessimistic, and let his life, go astray and all. And it was interesting that he was actually pointing out that if you don't see a person saying something, a pessimistic person saying something at the beginning of a fight or something that you have to work on, they will say later. Even if everything comes to be positive or to look positive for you to accomplish something, the pessimistic person will say, but look down the road, something's going to happen. You watch. The person is always afraid. So, as you're going through this, it really brought that video back to mind. And it's so true that it takes courage, right, for us to be optimistic, for us to build something within ourselves. So that is the comment that goes hand with this. One of the examples that you show at the beginning was about the centurion actually talking to Jesus and mentioning some of the ways that he dealt with his soldiers, right, and the way that he really positioned himself in that sense of order, right. We're talking about a centurion, someone who is actually delegating to other people. But as I was thinking, that's why it's good for us to see several times the same thing over and over, because I never thought about that. And you can comment on that idea, but the order, the command that we also have to apply within ourselves, right? We are these thinking beings that sometimes we don't think that way, and we let things be. Oh, it's this way because life, I don't have any control. But there, he showed his control. I think Jesus and the apostle brought this message to really show us we are the centurions of this physical body, of our lives. And when we commend, it better respond to it. I'm not trying to say it in this egotistic way, but I believe that's the message that, again, after seeing that teaching from Jesus many, many times, it only really sunk in tonight. So I don't know if you have any ideas or anything.
I think what he wanted to say that it is so well established, the job is so well established that he has the faith that whatever he says to the soldier, to the lower rank soldiers, is going to be done. So the same as Jesus' work as a healer. He knew that Jesus, if he gives the command, that command through, he doesn't know, through the air, through some force, will be sent to his house far, I don't know how far, and the servant is be cured. I think the analogy is like this, right? Regarding this pessimistic thing, there's two problems. People that look too much forward and very worried about the future, you don't have control that much. So we suffer of anxiety. People that put too much worries in the future suffers with anxiety. And I feel this fear that you said is because we want to be perfect. We put such a high bar for us that I cannot make mistakes, that anything that goes out of that, I will be disappointed. I don't want to be disappointed. Why? We're going to fail. If the little kid, how many times he fell before learn to stand up and go? If the first time the kid fell and start to cry and say, I won't walk anymore. Is that a case with the kids? No. Why adults like us, once we failed, why we decide not to try anymore? Why are we so disappointed with us? Why? We are not perfect. We are here to fail, but it's to try again. And the other problem is you look too much to the past. Too much to the past, so the guilt feeling comes. It's like you're driving, present. I want to reach that goal, my future. But I look the rear mirror, the front mirror and the lateral mirror, too much. If I stay the whole time looking back, I will have an accident. So people that look too much to the past, it won't live the present, it won't have the future that they want to. Because you cannot drive, look at the mirror the whole time, right? So this pessimism, I think it's based on this a little bit of arrogance of our part, that we want things to be the way we want. The things are not the way we want, point blank. Yeah, I think.
I really wished other people would ask questions, but I guess I can't control myself. Thank you. You and I have shared a lot of these conversations, and it's very enriching to see how you developed and presented. I also thought of a good use for this talk. It could be playing in doctors' waiting rooms. Yeah, I mean, because it is so thorough and concise that it would leave people who are really not aware that they're passive into activity. I think the only caveat that I would keep in mind is you can be doing the new active healing process and may not cure your physical body, because this is based on the work Carolyn Mace was doing with Dr. Norm Shealy, looking for, like you said, the roots of physical illness. It's not conscious, but things happen to this person many times in childhood or teenage years, and their emotional adaptation or expression was cut off and repressed, so eventually it's got to come out and be dealt with. So I think, again, not to be too hard on ourselves, that the focus is on the spiritual healing, that there's stories of people who don't physically heal, but they have grown so much in acceptance, love, and compassion that even though they die, they're still healed.
There is a doctor, Decio Yanandoli. He's an oncologist, a surgeon in the area of stomach. He went to the Rockville. I couldn't attend, but he says he has patients that died because of the cancer, but was healed. So spiritually, perispiritually, he was healed, although he died of cancer. But there is another group that they'll get rid of the cancer, but they're still ill in their spirit and in their perispirit. He could see clearly these two groups of people, clearly. So he says, what doesn't matter. He says, Jesus, people that he healed all died in short time or a little longer. But that was not the point. The point was that we have to change us as spirit to improve our qualities as a spirit, because we are not this body. We are spirit. So next time, if we healed already, well, if my perispirit is healed, my body is going to be much better equipped next time. And if my spirit also change, better, my perispirit also is clean. Imagine. not to have to endure. None of those things, you know. And have already the willingness to change. I'm not having a battle with myself, say, oh, I should do, but I don't want to do. I know I have to do it. Why battle on this? We suffer because we don't want to do it. We know, which is worse, because if we didn't know, it's easier. I don't know, I was ignorant, but I know and keep doing. It's a pain. It is a pain. Cause a lot of guilt, right? Yeah.
Okay. When we're discussing about, the pessimistic and optimistic, it just came to my mind that message that says we should sow, but not wait to see what's coming, what's going to flourish. Our role here, when we are incarnated, is to share, is to speak up, and just say it and do our part. But do not expect, because it can be now something is going to come back, or in 10 years, in 15 years, or it may not, do anything, but we should at least do our part. And this is what goes with what Paul was saying, for us to be talking and discussing and, show up. Because something we say, something we go through is an experience that others can benefit from. We never know. We don't know.
I think it was Martin Luther King that said that he would plant his apple tree, even if he won't see that tree to give the apple. And Chico's mothers also said, somebody said, but Dona Maria João de Deus, why are you planting this? This tree will take 50 years. I said, I'm not planting for me to enjoy this tree, but I want to live to plant that seed. So I think we have to have the willingness to change and to change somebody else's life. It's not for immediate change, So that's the same thing, yes. When you die of cancer, but you die healed, versus you cured, but you're still sick, spiritually sick. So you're going to come back in a bad body, Okay.
Well, Yasco, thank you so much again.